Hey folks, Mac T back. And remember, if you're going to get a hold of me, you have to join the Mac T Ford Edge Facebook group. I will not have comments on this video, so if you want to get a hold of me, go to the Mac T Ford Edge Facebook group, hit the join button, and of course enjoy all the content and conversation. And that being said, I have a very special and rather unusual repair video this time. I have a member by the name of Shane, and I'll put his name and everything in the beginning of this video here when I edit it. But he has graciously done a TSS OSS sensor replacement, provided me the video clips, and asked me to edit it and post it on my YouTube channel. So this is to Shane for the good work he did to help you all learn how to replace these. He did a pretty good job at documenting the work and what you need to do. So follow this video, and of course I approve it because he did such a good job, and it's just not worth holding on to. I gotta let the public see it. So by all means enjoy the video, and of course I will get the editing done and post it shortly. But all things being said, have fun with it, and of course learn something. Thanks, Shane.
Okay. Alright, so this is what it looks like, my transmission fluid after 3 drains and maybe 300 miles before I do the TSS sensor and the OSS sensor. So I'm draining it, and it looks really good. Looks really good. So this next fill up will be the 4th and final fill up to have a full fluid, or 95% fluid transfer or exchange. Next is going up top and starting to take pieces apart. Okay, so I've gotten everything out of the way to get into the transmission itself there. This bolt right down here, I ended up taking this whole pipe off. It just came out pretty easy. But this here, I had a 3/4 inch open-in box in there, or sorry, open-in wrench. Probably be a lot better if you did have some type of a crow foot. I took this piece off that holds the air filter in. I took that out of the way, and then also took the connection there to the transmission, to the main cover. Took that off, and I wasn't sure exactly how to get it off, but coming in from the right hand side, the driver's side, so coming in from this side and going under this with a little stubby flathead, and then it pushes this piece down, and then that pops over real nice, goes right over the stubby, and then you can pull it off real easy, get that all out of the way, and then it pretty much opens up everything right there. So next is to start taking off some bolts or some nuts to the main cover, and we'll see what's inside there. So got the main cover off, looking at the solenoid body, and that line right here is the OSS sensor. Looks like it goes right into there. It should be pretty easy. Looks like this is the TR sensor connection, and on the bottom is, you can't see it from here, but on the bottom is the TSS sensor. Sorry, I believe this is a TR sensor, if I didn't say that correctly. So it looks like I have to take this here off. Looks like 10 bolts or something like that. I got a diagram all set up, ready to go to take those off. And I will get down to the main control valve, or control body, and start looking at that manual pin. The manual pin is the one that's going to give me, in my mind, it's going to give me the hardest trouble. From here, I can see it. See it right there behind the green thing here. You can just barely see the plunger there, so that's awesome. So now we can start to see where it's at there. That is perfect. So we'll look to get that into the same position when we put everything back together. So hopefully this will help me put it back together and help somebody else. At this point, I want to give a big shout out to ForEdge, Mac, and Mano. You guys have been great for helping me out there. I'm sure I'm missing somebody, but I will make sure I give everybody a big thanks to giving me the confidence to do this. This is a lot of fun. It's about 25 degrees, 30 degrees outside. Let's give you a quick check and see. Bunch of snow out here, but we got sun, so I got the solenoid body off. Everything is out of the way. Now it's going to be the main control valve. You can see that this here is the OSS sensor. Here's a TSS sensor, the TR sensor up there. And again, get a little closer in there. You can see the right there in the middle. You can see the manual pin and the manual valve, and how it's sitting in there nicely. Again, I haven't taken the control valve off yet, but it's nice to see that I can actually see it with my phone, and hopefully one hand or one bolt in there holding it up, and I can adjust it correctly with by using my phone. So that is that. And another thing I wanted to show, just kind of my organizational skills outside of all the tools up here. But I have a little platform up here that has all my notes and my diagrams. And then down here, I put in plastic bags each of the solenoid bolts. So they're from left to right, left down, going across there. You can see it's 1, 2, 3, 4, and then how many are in each one, and then I've colored them as well. And then you can see the control, main control cover, 14 bolts. And then once I get the control valve bolts off, there's supposed to be 10 in there. Once I get that off, it's there. And then I will go back and show you what I did with the solenoid. So back here, I took the solenoid out, got the main the control cover there, switched out the new, or the old one, the old solenoid filter for the new one. There's the old one. It wasn't really that bad, but had a new one anyways. Seemed like it popped off relatively easy. Seems like it all clicked in there relatively easy as well. And then got some of my other major pieces back here. So that's how I am taking it apart and keeping everything separated, and hopefully everything's clean. Okay, moving on to the control valve. All right, it is out. There's the OSS sensor. TSS sensor is down there. It's hanging out. I'll put a string on it and pull it through. Everything looks relatively good from my novice spot, but it is all taken out relatively easy. I mean, this is super easy. There's the bolts, and then I'll go show you the main control valve. Well, I got the solenoid on top of the main control valve. There's the main control valve, sitting pretty. And now we'll go change the sensors and reverse everything back into place. So right there is the bottom of the the TSS sensor. Gonna take that bolt out and pull it all the way through. Should be relatively easy. Here we go. So there is the TSS sensor. I'm gonna try to snake it on through here. See how easy it comes out, and we'll see what happens. There we go. And then the OSS sensor is barely see it, but it looks like I'm not gonna be able to see. I'll have to get it from the top, but that black guy up there is the bolt to it. So we'll get to that next. So you can see I got it in. You can see that the other side's out. What I did was, to make it a little easier, I'm using a shoestring, but I have it going up over the outside of the engine compartment, so I can pull it up while I feed it through with my other hand. So just another little point. I was trying to pull it down towards me, down this way, but I figured my shoestring was long enough, so I have it out here. So I'm pulling it out from up out of the engine compartment to allow it to pull up and in, and then I would feed it with my right hand there to kind of help it through so I didn't have to pull too hard. So that seemed like it helped and went real easy. Now moving on. So I couldn't see the hole for the OSS sensor, so I'm just gonna video it so I can watch what I'm doing. Pretty simple. Right in there, and then I'll put the nut in, or the bolt, and be done with that. So, everything went in perfectly smooth. I did not undo this up here. I think that if people undo, I think this is the throttle body, I believe, or the throttle body valve or something like that. If you undo that, my assumption is that this here is loose, so then the manual pin can move. So if you don't undo this, then the manual pin stays where it needs to stay. I don't have any bolts in. I think it was Claude who said that if you put it in correctly, it will stay there, and it slipped right in there, and I didn't even touch the manual valve. It just went in. So yeah, I think I haven't seen or heard anybody not take this off. It's not in the instructions to take it off, but I know that I think I've seen or heard people have at least loosen it, but I did not. And again, the manual valve just went in beautifully. I just turned the camera on just to see if it was in there, and it was. I did not put it in there. It just naturally went in there. So anyways, that is that. So I'm about ready to bolt up the main control valve and start putting stuff back together. You can see that the OSS, or the OSS sensors outside there, TSS sensors kind of hanging out down there, TR sensors right up here out of the way, and I'll start popping in some bolts. All right. Just making sure that the sensor's not pinched. Sensor wire does not look pinched there. I don't know if I'll be able to see it all the way down here. Well, looks good down there as well. Perfect. Let's see what we got in here. Alright, yeah, it's not pinched. Okay, good. Just making sure. So this is the TSS sensor, and just making sure that it is not pinched, and it does not look like it is pinched anywhere. Okay.
Alright, well, this is what we have here. Drilling out that bolt right there, and hopefully I can pull it out. Looks like I got a pretty decent hole in there right now. I'm gonna drill a little farther and see if I can't get something tapped in there, and so I can start pulling it out. Alright, we'll see what we can do. It is currently 9:20 Monday morning. We'll see how long it takes. Cheers. Alright, it's about 2 minutes later, maybe 5 minutes. I drilled a little bit more with the nice Cobalt drill bit. Looks like I can't remember what it was, 7/64 or something like that. And it was going really nice, went in there really beautifully. Decided to try a easy out, went real super slow, and check it out. Whoops. There you can see it. If I can get my big fingers out of the way. There it is. It's coming out. I could have done this last night at 5 o'clock at night, but it was about, I don't know, 25 degrees, and I was over. And couldn't believe I broke. This was a piece that was slowing me down. Everything else went in beautifully, and this was the piece that held me up. This one little bolt, not the torquing down of the solenoid body or the valve or the manual valve or anything like that. This little bolt, because I over tightened it. But with help of a couple of friends, some pieces, some tools, I got it out. Now let's see if I can put it back together without breaking another one. Awesome. It only took me a couple minutes. I'm so happy. Okay, so I got the cover on, got the what is that? I think it's a thermal temperature tube or something like that. Got the tube on, and one thing to consider, and if this is your first time doing it, it's my first time doing it. Worked around pipes for a little while, but it's been a long time since I had. But again, so the idea is this pipe needs to fit down so this bolt can, or this nut can get on there and get in. You don't want this pipe to be moving around, so don't tighten this bolt up to, or this nut up too tight at first. Make sure that you have a good seal on the pipe inside the thermal valve there, and that goes along with any pipes really. And then slowly you'll feel that it's snugging down, and then there's no movement in that pipe. So yeah, so that's where I'm at right now, about ready to hook up the main valve connection and start putting the air cleaner contraption and holder back on, and start putting the air cleaner back on, and put the battery terminals back together and fill her up with some fuel fluid and see what happens, see if I have any leaks. So that's that. But yeah, I really wanted to focus on that pipe. Again, if it's a first time you're doing it, make sure that that you take your time on this, and by your time, maybe a few minutes, but make sure that it's all the way down in there, and you can start this with your finger, make sure it gets going, and then you'll feel that it's actually snug. And again, check the O-ring in there. Mine was fine over on this one. I checked the seal on here. I don't have the tools to pull the seal out. Seal looks good. I have another one on hand just in case for whatever reason it does go bad, so I don't have to order it. I can just go get a tool to take a seal remover out, and that's that. But there you go. It's coming together. More quick little tip. This bolt here I took out and just put it back in when I was taking everything apart. The housing for the air filter bolt took out, put back where it went. And same thing with these bolts down here. Just took those out, put them back where they went, or where they're supposed to go, because those are kind of those odds and ends that you can lose and forget where they go. So I just put those back where they're supposed to go, and then all the other major ones, for the main control cover and the solenoid body and the main valve, I put those all in their own packaging and labeled them, and that way I knew exactly how many bolts I was supposed to have, and when the package was empty, everything was good. So I just wanted to give that little quick tip. So this is the last piece I got to do as far as putting the vehicle back together. Got a cool little flexi extension there, so I can kind of get back in there and don't have to mess around too much with it. Once I get that, I will put some fluid in it and start her up, and we'll be done. Hopefully no leaks. Okay, this is kind of my final presentation. Got all the fluid in, got everything buttoned down. I turned it over. No warning lights yet, so I'm gonna go take her for a test drive and see what happens. Get her up to temperature and check the fluids again. And just wanted to show kind of what I used and how I had it assembled here. So obviously the thing in the middle here is a list of things that I needed, and then inside there is the diagrams that I found online from Mac and Bill and all you fantastic people at Ford Edge, MACT. And then rather than doing paint pens, even though I bought paint pens, I just labeled some plastic bags, some storage bags, and just said how many bolts were supposed to be in each one. So you can see that got the main control cover
14 bolts, control valve, and then once got to the solenoid, I just colored them on the diagram in there. I colored them and then colored them here with how many bolts they're supposed to be, and then I tried to write in up there at the top, you know, which numbers they were. So there was 1 bolt for number 1, there was 3 bolts for number 2, 4 for number 3, and 3 for number 4, and then obviously you have to go in a certain sequence as well. And then just wanted to show some of the tools that I used. I had to get a torque wrench, which I unfortunately had to torque too much the TSS sensor bolt, so I had to take that out. Luckily it only took me about 5 minutes. It was awesome. Have some of these little attachments, different millimeter ones for some of the easier stuff, and then also to get in some of the tighter spots. Obviously a light, dual side ratchet, 3/4 inch wrench, and then a flexi ratchet and some attachment for that, and then 10 millimeter and flathead. So that's essentially what I use. Oh, and sorry, the 10 millimeter, 11 millimeter, and 13 millimeter deep socket. Those were to help me get into the solenoid body and take the control valve off and whatnot, and the main control valve. Anyways, that is that. I'm just cleaning up here now. Everything is put back together. Like I said, I got it all started up and checked everything, and looks good now. I just got to go warm it up and see if we're at the right level. But so far so good. Thanks guys. Okay, now time to start torquing stuff down. See, I got just got the TSS sensor in, so I got it fastened down, but now I'm doing my Pittsburg Pro torque wrench from Harbor Freight that Bill loves and Mano loves. Just wanted to give a little shout out to both of you again, and gonna use it for the first time. So here we go. All right, going for my first ride here. It's going nice and slow for now. Let's see what happens. Pretty good shifting. Okay, so the first test looks pretty good. Now I'm gonna go warm her up. Thanks everybody.
Well, as you can see, that is a pretty good video on how to replace your TSS OS sensors on your 2008 Ford Edge, and the results you can't argue with, folks. It is running good, and it was a fix, so we're thumbs up on that one. But like I said, join up here on MACTFORDEDGE Facebook. Yes, that's where you're going to get a hold of me, so join there. And of course, this YouTube channel, go ahead and hit the like and subscribe button, and by all means, my feet hit the floor today and I'm having a great day. And with that being said, I got the band of one that's going to play some music following this, and also Mercy Girl's going to toss in a couple one-liners for you all to actually listen to her and the music at the same time.
Thank you for watching MacT's videos, and remember to like and subscribe. This is a Mercy Girl production.